What's up, everybody? My name's Mike. This is All Things Fish, and we are down in the fish room tonight. Might be morning for you, might be late night. So, anyway, cheers to you, cheers to fish, cheers to everybody. And I had some free time and some work to do, so we're gonna hang out in the fish room, do some water changes. If I can get this thing to sit still. So, 3G, welcome. It might just be the two of us tonight, but hey, that's all right by me. Knock out some water changes. Once we run out of water, maybe we'll tidy up some of these boards and crap that are hanging out all over the place. We'll see. I don't know. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I'll be checking the comments periodically. About top of the bike. Don't flood the house. I'm in the basement, so flooding the house is extremely difficult. However, ending up with a bunch of water on the floor is never out of the question. So 3G and Koro, howdy howdy. Hope you guys had a great day. Have fun on your bike ride. Sorry that you chose to ruin a nice ride by hanging out with me. So hopefully I don't put you to sleep. Get you amped up, get you ready to go. If you got some pre-workout in you, maybe you can do a little lifting after. Who knows? I've been trying to catch up on some of the video from the Aquatic Expo that's out in Charlotte. Unfortunately, due to distance and other stuff going on, I was not able to make it out, but I hope those that did had a fabulous time. Always seems like there's always good stuff to see when you go to events like that, right? Seems like a lot of the fun and what makes it worth going is more or less just because the people there. I know Grant and Shelby were there. They were doing a live stream earlier. Not their home. Sounds like they had a great weekend. One of these days, I'll get to one of the bigger show type events. I'm more of a swap meet type guy myself. But the shows you kind of get to see more people, especially if you're into the bigger names. So one of these days I'll make my way over there. Probably not anytime soon. Scotty keeps trying to talk me into checking out the Clash. Hey Debs, hope you're doing well. Getting ready to go to work, but Debs will be listening. Thanks for stopping by, Debs. I know I don't stream a whole lot, particularly these days, but in general, and it seems like when I do stream, it's been fairly late at night lately. Summertime, during the day, I'm either busy at work or busy chasing the wife and kid around. If the kid's not around, I'm chasing the wife. If the wife's not around, I'm chasing the kid. So, they keep me pretty busy. So the nighttime is kind of after they go to sleep, or if the kid goes to sleep and the wife's up to other stuff and doesn't want to be chased, I come down here and just relax, work on the tanks, enjoy the fish. Sometimes more work gets done than others, but either way, it's always nice hanging out with you folks and chatting a little bit. I'm actually working on condensing tanks, so I've just kind of got some leftover guppies from different breeding projects over the last year or so. So the plan is, and this is unofficial so far, I'm going to put a tub up outside now that the temps are consistently steering a little bit warmer up here in Iowa. And surprisingly, and I wasn't expecting it, it got up to 90 degrees here today. But like I said, now the temps are a little bit more reasonable. The plan is to set up about a 30-gallon tote as a makeshift pond, if you will. I'm not going to call it a pond. I'll call it summer tubbing. And just, throw the guppies in there, let them sit all summer, and just see what we end up with. I like line breeding guppies because So you have control, and usually you're after certain characteristics that the various strains and lines possess that some people find desirable, some people maybe don't find certain parts desirable. But hey, these are fun to work with because of all the variation. There's something for everybody. Unless you just can't stand guppies, then maybe there's not. Catch up on chat here real quick. KG had a major storm. Losing Burkoi and Red Shoulder Angel dropped eggs. That's awesome. We had a storm pass through here. Kind of sort of trying to work on a video. I've got a pair. I just picked up a pair of Congo tetras. They were really young, just barely sexy. Last fall, threw those out in separate 5-gallon tanks. Threw them in a tank together. Bare bottom, some drift woods, Indian elm leaves, some alder cones, and sponge filter. I'm going to put one floating mop and one sinking mop, and got a spawn out of those. So once I introduced them this past week. So hopefully I don't mess things up, and I end up with some kind of a tetra fry, because that'd be pretty cool. I've accidentally bred tetras before. This is kind of my first attempt at intentionally breeding tetras. So far, so good as far as the whole getting them to spawn part. Whether I get fry or not, will mostly be on me. I chose to, they spawned in a mop. Now, they are scatterers, so a lot of people will use like an egg crate type bottom, but I did get them to spawn in a mop. So I pulled the mop, and we'll see if I can hatch them out on my own or not. So hoping for the best. We'll see what happens. I put the mop with eggs. It's currently in a 5-gallon tank, about half empty, with a little bit of methylene blue. You ask, well, why is the tank half empty? I like to give them the swimming room of a little bit wider footprint, but the shallower tank means that water changes are easier, take less time, and they don't have to search so much for food when I put food in there, such as brine shrimp, microworms, pedigree eels, etc. Sketty Nona, how's it going? You're up late, my Iowa friend. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a fabulous weekend. Nathan Hogan's here. Chancellor Larson, welcome. Henry Figueroa, hello, hello. Stephen P, 2003. You're up to me too. Doesn't seem like stay up late these days, unless you got that job. It seems like it's working well and treating you okay. So that's awesome. Who does water changes? Now that I am home, correction, I do water changes. Top ops are great, but for what I'm trying to do, water changes needs to be caught up on. So here I am. Here you guys are. And probably do water changes tonight until I run out of water in the tubs. And well, if you're tuning into what? Kool-Aid? Oh, the Kool-Aid's for me. I'll drink the Kool-Aid. Fish will have the water. Chances are I appreciate the Kool-Aid a little bit more than they do anyway. So, you guys haven't really seen the 125 upstairs lately. It's finally getting cleaned up, getting sorted back out. So we'll do a little update on that one of these days during the day when I'm not waking up the wife and kid yakking. Right now, I'm working on cleaning up the tanks. Like I said, I'm condensing stuff. I'm gonna get rid of, get rid of, so to speak, a lot of guppies, but they'll end up in the tub outside. We'll see how they do out there, which means that I'll have tank space open there and there, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. So I have some stuff in the mail that should arrive hopefully tomorrow. If not, no big deal. I'm shooting for tomorrow. That would be ideal. We'll see when it shows up. Hopefully sooner than later. This is stuff that I attempted to receive in the winter weather and the Postal Service had different plans, so it didn't work out. 3.5 inches of rain last night. I changed the water in my supper tub for me. Yeah, that's, one of the benefits of those outside tubs is that you don't have to do water changes. You really don't have to do much. You don't have to feed. You start getting an awesome live food source from whatever happens to lay eggs or land in the tub or pond, whatever you may be running. And yeah, temperature fluctuations. Everybody freaks out about temperature fluctuations in our aquariums, right? But how much of an issue are temper fluctuations actually, right? If you think about it, a lot of people run tubs that aren't exactly large, so the temperature really doesn't stay stable. Most people aren't running tubs somewhere where they really have a consistent temperature throughout the day unless you live somewhere like, I don't know, Louisiana, and then your temperature is just always hot, right, Stephen? So, it's fogging up the python. I mean, think about it, like right now in Iowa, we're getting temps in the 90s during the day and 55 at night. So even if you figure, like I said, I'm going to set up about a 30-gallon tote outside. Once I get it set up, I'll record some data, I suppose, and we'll see just how much of a temperature swing it gets. So temperature swings, if they're extreme and happen quickly, definitely less than desirable for your fish. However, it's a fairly natural process that I would argue the vast majority of fish handle quite well. In fact, a lot of those swings, you're talking about getting rainstorms, that pressure drops, that rain comes in, and you get that fresh, usually generally cooler water, and that often triggers spawning, right? So I think people put maybe too much emphasis on trying to avoid temperature swings myself, because it is just a naturally occurring thing that happens, right? So not the end of the world. 85-degree tap water. Woof. That makes those cooler water changes. Not that you're trying to spawn anything at the moment, Stephen, but that might make those cooler water changes to try to trigger some cories or something to spawn a little bit more difficult when you simply can't get that cooler water, unless maybe you're storing it right in front of like an air conditioning vent, or you're icing it down somehow. Oh, Zen Ginger, welcome. I'm surprised you're awake too. Member for 9 months. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much. Henry asked what time it is here. It is currently about 12:45, so fairly late. My son had a baseball game this evening, so that ended about 10 o'clock, and then got him cleaned up and pretty well ready for bed. Once he got to bed, I came down here, tried to get a little bit of work done. We'll see how much actually gets done. But, currently, I'm off camera in one of the other tanks, but working in it's a 15-gallon tank that houses one of my 3 spawning pairs of Cryptoheros Nanoluteus, recently reclassified, maybe not even that recent anymore, Amatiliana Nanoluteus, Stephen P. 2003, 10 months. Awesome. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks for your support. 2 a.m. for me. Yeah, I'll probably be up till about 2 out here. Aquarium Delirium, welcome. Hello. Thanks for stopping by tonight. I haven't streamed in a while, and I haven't really been in a lot of streams recently, so I don't recognize your username. So if this is your first time, well, thanks for joining me. If not, thanks for coming back. Maybe you used a different username before, not sure. I've been in streams lately, but usually if I'm listening into somebody else's stream, I've got other stuff going on. I'm either working in the aquarium, working out in the garage, trying to get the Jeeps in better shape, and just generally not paying a ton of attention to the chat. So if that's the case, I do apologize. Just cleaned these lids and just spilled some bloodworms that were thawing out on them. That's less than desirable. So goes life. Over here, it's another 15-gallon tank, which I wish I could find more of. They are difficult to get your hands on these days. I have no idea how old these things even are. Got them from a buddy when he shut down his fish room. Just trying to get some of the detritus debris out of here. Broken down food, fish crap. And usually on these tanks, there's some juvies in there that I didn't even know I had. So I might move those to a different tank, actually. See if I can net them out without pissing the parents off. Henry asked how many aquariums I have. So I currently own, I'll say I own probably 40. Of those 40, I only have about 25 full of water right now. And of those 25, I have even less that at this moment have fish in them. But I like to leave things open. I like to have space. That's what I want. Right now, I have options. If I see something new, I have the room to grab something new. So, unfortunately, due to work, I missed the nearby swap meets out here. Like I said, I do have some stuff coming in the mail. The cave was full of crap. That's why we're doing water changes. I need more room. So I had all this, well, the vast majority of this stuff in a much smaller room. This room is probably about 12 by 16, I think I measured it out to be. But I had this in about a 6 by 10, 6 by 12 room, just a lot more condensed. So it's definitely doable. I actually have, if you look through my videos, I have the old fish room build that was in the smaller room. If you're interested in seeing how I did that, it just involves stacking things a lot closer together, which means you don't have as much room to move around in. Where'd you go, guy? If I can catch these guys and move them to something a little bit easier to see in, I'll show these little juvies here. But catching them is the least favorite part. I'm going to move these guys up in this 5 for now. They're not very big, maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. Move him up there. And I use the same water for the vast majority of my tanks. So moving fish from one tank to the next is fairly easy. Don't have to worry about them stressing out due to different water parameters. Thought I saw 3. I'm gonna scoop 2 out. I didn't think I had any in here, so that'll work okay for now. Let a little crap come out of there. We'll call that tank good for now. Put the python over the next tank. And let that one start draining. So I'm sure a lot of people the right move to avoid major problems and cross-contamination between tanks would probably be to use like hydrogen peroxide or like a methylene blue dip or something when switching nets and equipment from one tank to the next. But I've had most of the fish in the fish room for quite some time, and they're all pretty well clean and disease-free, so I'm not worried too much. Moving on to the next Crypto Hero Stanley's tank. I know I have some juvies at about an inch and a half in here. I'm going to move those out. It just kind of plays, sometimes with the juveniles still in the tank with the parents want to spawn, but because the juveniles in there, sometimes they won't spawn, or sometimes I just harass them. Henry's got 130 in his garage. See, I value my garage space too much to turn it into a fish room. So I'm a glutton for punishment and have expensive hobbies. So one of my other hobbies is Jeeps. It's currently down to 2 Jeeps. Previously had 3. So they occupy the garage space. That's not something that I'm willing to give up. And I have some basement space that's, as far as, temperature control works better. Plus my garage is detached. So it would kind of it would be less fun to have to walk outside during a thunderstorm or a blizzard to get work in the aquarium or on the fish tanks. But one tank at a time. Yeah, that's exactly what I do, Henry. I know a lot of people don't like doing water changes. I personally don't mind them. I enjoy working my tanks, and it gives me the opportunity to get my hands in a tank, get up close to it regularly, and notice spawns or feel like, and maybe it's all in my head, but I feel like I have a better idea of what's going on because of it. I know there's at least half a dozen good-sized juvies over this tank. Just have to chase them out of here. Which is never an easy task. Again, this is mostly bare. I'll say mostly bare bottom. There is some leftover sand. Now, if I wanted to make the life easier catching these guys, I'd grab a bigger net, but this is the one that I have handy. So this is what I'll use and just complain about it the whole way. If I could pay somebody to catch fish for me, I would do that in a heartbeat. All right, get some of those guys out of there. So good. This and go up here to this 40 breeder. And we'll give the old Shalatrian Allen eye. nice little water change. These guys are back in spawning shape. I said I was gone for a while, but now that I'm back home, getting the feeding routine back down, getting the water change routine back down. So the rainbows are officially back in action. Maybe we'll see in a minute if we can get a decent look at some of the freshly hatched fry that have hatched within the last 48 hours, really. If you're on the fish cord, which if you're not, I strongly suggest you do so. If you're on the fish cord, you saw a couple days ago the videos that I posted of the Allen eye. Or if you're subscribed to my channel, I did post a short today titled Baby Shark, where you can see a short video of an Allen eye fry just kind of coming along, doing his thing, chasing food. So this is the, so I've got 3 breeding pairs right now of the Cryptoheros nanolydius, the small, relative to the convict. It's bright yellow with black bars and blue eyes. I think called the golden convict or the blue-eyed convict. I just spawn them in small terracotta caves. So catch up on chat a little bit here. God Small converted it fish room 3 years ago. Hey, there you go. Lost there. Nathan. I mean, water changes on my soft water tanks. I'll drain each one, then go back and fill them one after the other. That's pretty much what I do here in the fish room, down here in my basement. If I try to fill one while I'm draining one, I inevitably just end up overflowing. So the problem is when I drain a bunch and then go back and fill them, sometimes I run out of RO water, and that results in the tank sitting half empty for a little bit. 8 hours for water changes, woof. If I just sit down and focus on water changes, I can change, most of the tanks in this room, assuming I have enough water on hand, in about an hour, maybe a little bit longer. 2, but if I rush and only change the water, I can do it in 1 hour. I'm right there with you, Nathan. I don't keep a ton of plants, other than maybe like Java moss and guppy grass in these tanks downstairs in the basement. So I don't mess around with moving plants around and stuff. The 125 upstairs, though, that can kind of turn into a little bit of a time suck sometimes when I decide to rearrange. Ugh. Bath water, Steven. That is awful. But at least the air doesn't hurt your face when you go outside in the winter. So take the good with the bad. What was Steven, what was the highest temperature that your tub got up to, like just surface temperature last year? Because I want to say for a while you said you were something of like the 90s, but that might be way off. I know it was toasty. You was struggling for a little bit because of the temperature. Just going through right now, and I usually scrape glass while the tank's draining so that the algae bits just get sucked out from the siphon. I was distracted, so now I'm going back. Now, I'm not sure. Koro and Steven might have been here many moons ago, I happened to be streaming down here doing water changes on this exact ladder, and somehow June, who's not here tonight or not here yet, convinced me to do things I wouldn't normally do. So she got a little bit of a show, as well as probably some also fairly unsuspecting members of the audience. I'm scraping glass right now up here on the Schlatherina Allanite tank. I do have mag floats that I bounce around between tanks to scrub some of the algae. For some reason, this rainbow tank likes to grow this red algae, and I think there's a small frosted window up there. I think it might have to do with that, but it's a red algae. It's a little bit tougher, so I'm taking a razor blade to it. These tanks are all working tanks, not display tanks. If you've seen the pictures that I've attempted to post on Fishcord, you'll know that there are plenty of scratches, but I'm not super worried about it. They're old tanks, as long as they hold water and fish breed in them. I don't really care what they look like. So Nathan was here. Oh, good times. Henderson needs to buy bigger water storage tanks. So I currently have about 120 gallons of RO just in 2 drums, and that'll get me, most of the way through the fish room, depending on what I'm doing. Jeff Kane, what's up, Jeff Kane? Hope you've had some tight lines this summer. Hope the smallies are treating you well. So, unfortunately, I haven't been able to do a ton of fishing yet this year. Although last weekend I went camping with my family out near Rapid City, and we were up at one of the lakes in the Black Hills, and we didn't get into a ton of big trout, but we definitely got into bigger trout than we usually catch out there. So that was a pleasant surprise and definitely enjoyable. While trout is delicious, most of the time, if they don't, pass away for whatever reason after we catch them, we usually just throw them back in the water to continue the excellent fisheries that we have in South Dakota. So there's that. Boots and Cats. Hey, Rachel. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Starting to roll a few more people in here. I didn't expect this many people to pop in at 1 a.m. Central Time. I need to buy a well pump for my well. I need to increase my water bill. I don't know. I don't sell a ton of fish, but I sell enough fish and plants that I guess I just don't worry about the water bill. Whatever happens, happens. Cost of doing business and doing something you enjoy. So it is what it is. 1 a.m. for us, 11 on the West Coast. Even 11. Like usually George. I didn't even look. Is George streaming tonight? Usually he streams pretty late. So I use a lot. Go figure. I live in the Midwest, but I like to keep saltwater fish. So I use a lot of RO water. Wastewater goes towards the yard sometimes. Not as much as I should. So yeah, a lot of RO water. So usually on water change day, I split it up between the 125 usually gets a day to itself, just because that uses the vast majority of the RO storage. But the fish room I usually split into 2 days down here, and I have plenty. Most days I'm changing anywhere between 50 to 90%. So 110 gallons doesn't necessarily go very far. Now, like I said, I do run RO in a lot of the tanks, but some of the tanks get a mix of RO and tap, or some of them actually just get straight tap. So Iowa water sucks. I'll be honest. It's terrible as far as fish keeping, unless you like Rift Lake cichlids, then it's awesome. I'm not a big Rift Lake cichlid guy, but I do keep some guppies and a few fish that don't mind the Iowa water. So I either cut the Iowa water with a little bit of tap, or depending on fish, they'll take straight tap. So that's the thing. For example, one of the tanks right above me, you guys can't see me, so you guys are quite bored. It was just Neolamphroagus multifasciatus, or the little multis, cute little shell dweller. You see, they prefer hard water, so that's what they get. They just get, well, I usually do about 50-50 RO tap with those guys. And I've put them in very soft water, I've put them in very hard water. Generally get better spawns, I think, out of the hard water. So they get a little bit of a mix. 50-50 mix seems to suit them well. Now my tap water TDS is something like 500 or something ridiculous. So it's not super useful for much. It is pretty well the reason that Jeff Paganfish used to be Midwest Cichlid Association, and I think unfortunately it's kind of gone by the wayside. I don't know if people got bored of big Rift Lake cichlids or what, but I don't think Midwest Cichlid Association is as busy as it used to be. A lot of people moved into shrimp, and a lot of people moved into stuff like Apistos. So you still see quite a few, like you go to swap meet like Quad Cities or Omaha or Des Moines, you still see quite a few of the big Rift Lake cichlids, like your peacocks and your labs and stuff. But it's definitely nowhere near what you used to see. Start filling tanks here. I'm draining a 75 with some Pseudochrome labras in it. So that'll take a while, so I can focus on filling tanks without overfilling tanks. And basically, like I said, I've got two 55-gallon drums set up with my water. And so I just take a hose next to a PVC. Oh man, sorry. Built a little PVC rig, drilled some holes in the bottom of it, and put a little valve on there so that I can just leave the pump running and move from one tank to the next. Steven said his water got up to in the 90s. Don't have any fish in there. For some reason, honestly, I wasn't sure. Figure stone. Yeah, so you know the trick to dealing with warm water, like Stephen mentioned, is to battle it with surface agitation. It's not so much the heat, but generally the fish struggle with is the decreased dissolved oxygen. So increasing your surface agitation helps fix that problem. Rachel asked, has anyone gotten fish flipped over by an aquatic vet before? I have not. You know, for me personally, and this might make it sound terrible, when it comes to sick fish, if I can't treat it with something I have on hand, unless it's like a really, really prized possession of some sort, you know, other than isolating it and doing the normal stuff, I mean, most fish that we keep are under $30, right? Like, how much time and money are you willing to put into a fish that you didn't really spend a lot of money for to begin with? You know, that may sound cold, but I know some of them may not cost a lot. Generally, it might just be something that's hard to find, right? So if it's something hard to find, then yeah, I mean, by all means, exhaust your efforts trying to save that fish. So you may not see it again. But like Steven said, I live in Iowa. Well, we do have um, Iowa State University, which is a major vet school. It's difficult to find vets that specialize in fish. So chances are you may be just as well off. You can get some slides and cover slips pretty cheaply, and some stain. And if you really want to dig into it, you can just set up some slides and see what you find out. The internet is I don't know where all that water came from. But there's methylene blue in it. That's not good. Oh well. What? I walked in it. There's methylene blue everywhere right now. Literally, I'm spilling water from somewhere. Like just be running down the hose. There was some methylene blue on my floor. So now I have streaks of methylene blue all over the floor, probably on my shoes. Ugh, so if I go upstairs in these shoes, like best. Luckily the floor is blue. So I think we'll be okay. It needs to get scrubbed down anyway. I don't even know where the methylene blue came from. I don't know where the water's coming from. Methylene blue. Must have spilled the other day. Doo, 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 doo. Oh man. CPs and emerald spores. Luck start adding water, and they're doing well. Spores are. I don't have CPs anymore. CPs are tough. Easy to find, but hard to find healthy ones. So if you can find a local breeder, someone somewhat local, then that would probably be your best bet as far as finding healthy stock to start with. Chance is getting creative over here. Ingenuity is the mother of creativity. What's that? Necessity is the mother of creativity, something like that. You could definitely do like a mini fridge, a creative type setup, and run like even if you just ran a pump, not necessarily a filter, if you're in a pump, pumped water through a hose and ran through a mini fridge, hey, here you go. There's a chiller. Rachel said she took a sailfin pleco in with an injury, but he's taking a sudden turn. But everything can go as far as treatment. Um, that's unfortunate, Rachel. Sorry to hear that. Obviously, you could try like flubendazoles, nitrofurazone, and Metro. Um, hopefully, you see good luck with that. A lot of times, though, just keeping it in clean water go a long, long way. No experience with RO. RO is easy, right? Um, it just takes up space. So, uh, I mean, it's not RO is not for everybody because most people don't need it. I just have a knack for saltwater fish and happen to have really hard water. No methylene blue. So methylene blue. The only reason I have methylene blue is for when I'm hatching out eggs, just to keep them from fungusing. If you're talking about actually like staining slides and stuff, they do use completely different thing back. Then asked for something super DIY, like filling yourself with water and frozen each night and throwing in there feet of the day. Honestly, if you're looking at a tub, like a small tub, like 30 gallons or so, if it's getting up in the 90s, that's not going to last very long. And I think you just see more kind of rapid fluctuations, and the cool water would be fairly localized. in the body of the water. So I don't know that you see a ton of positive effects from it. But if you had enough of them and nothing better to keep rotating them, and maybe it would work. I don't think anybody should trust their city water. I know people do. I just don't think you should because most city water is dog crap. The amount of things they put in city water anymore these days is mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. Um, Ever lose a lot of fish at once in the city water when I was doing water changes and did one on a 59 gallon. I had white and moved on, put that for the sailors, still 30 fish dead. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And a lot of the times, people don't really think about it, but you'll see seasonal changes in your city's water. They may change their source. It may come from like a river or stream. Depends on the rain. Depends on if you're near a large agricultural area where there's a lot of farming and stuff. Some of those chemicals may leach into the water. Maybe a couple times a year they flush the system to try to really sanitize it. So it's extremely tough. City water can be risky if if you don't know what's going through there. So unfortunately, Nathan, that's not the first time that that's happened. So like Henry said, E. coli in the tap water. Yeah, no good. Nobody wants that to happen. That protein system, yeah, just like we were talking about. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And at the end of the day, obviously the city's not going to take any responsibility for it. So uh, that leaves us at the end users of the water treatment plant just high and dry. Uh, how deep do you recommend a well? So that depends a lot on where you work. Um, so a lot of the times you just have to go deep enough to get a solid water supply. So when I was younger, I was in high school. My folks lived outside Rapid City, about 10 miles up the Black Hills. And so my folks bought a piece of property to build on. And we had 10 acres, and then the next 10 acres over my uncle bought. And so we only had to drill about 400 feet to get nice, clean, cold, solid water supply. My aunt and uncle lived on the next 10 acres over, we maybe a few hundred yards away from where we drilled our well. They had to go almost 1,000 feet, and they had to put in a cistern to hold the water. That's just the way the aquifer was. So, uh, definitely. Mud descriptors is good luck. Make sure you sniff first. That's that is terrible, Zen. That's quite unfortunate. That's interesting how when we went deeper, you notice those changes. Like I said, my folks lived out in the Black Hills, and they had a couple different aquifers. So Henry City, you can dig 6 feet in front of water. I mean, good deep water. I can definitely see that down there in those lowland places where you don't have to go very deep to get water. Like I said, it's just getting a solid source of some good water to actually rely on. So, best of luck. I don't know. I'm sure there's local companies that specialize in that based on your location. Anymore nowadays with like sonar type equipment, it's a lot easier for them to go in and find solid sources, what they're looking for. Let's see, add up some water here. So I've drained some tanks here up near Duluth. That's awesome. So I'm in northwest Iowa. Not too far away there, Chance. Well, that's great news then. You didn't kill all the breeders. Yeah, and when I say you didn't kill all the breeders, what I really mean is that your unfortunate weather situation didn't kill the breeders because that's that's a bummer. That sucks. I can't remember exactly how many fish you said you lost, but that is miserable, and nobody wants to do with that either way. Whether you lose one fish or 100 fish, it's just unfortunate headache. Trust me, I need both my kidneys and probably a second liver. If I could just add them to liver, probably would hurt. Uh, Cheers to that. Toro's got bad pipes. We have, so I live in a very old house. It was built in the late 1920s, and it's kind of a challenge right now to see how long we can stay here without having to redo plumbing and stuff. So fingers crossed, hoping for the best. Mentioned that I had spilled some bloodworms that were thawing out earlier to you guys, and to feed some bloodworms. I usually thaw them out with a cup of water. I just feed with a syringe. So, boom, bloodworms, all kinds of good stuff. Into the tank they go. I find that a syringe is super easy way to feed these guys. It's, control the amount that I want in each tank fairly easily. And it's easy to just bebop from one tank to the next. Those guys, Citrus probably want some. Now, the bloodworms that I have now are actually pretty good size. I prefer to feed smaller ones. This is the last of I buy my bloodworms in 1 pound flats. And these I don't know if it's just this batch or what, but they're actually just a little bit bigger than I'd like. Almost done though, so we'll see what the next flat has to offer. Hopefully something a little bit smaller. Because I don't really keep very big fish. And I pretty well feed bloodworms to all my tanks, with a couple exceptions. I mean, obviously, if it's a fry tank and the fish are just way too small to eat bloodworms, can't get any bloodworms. But for the most part, everything gets a splash. I suppose if I really wanted to make them smaller, it would be possible. Blender, but that would be extra work. I like to make things easy. Bada bing, bada boom. Back to chat. 75 hill streams. Extra air. We'll never make that mistake. I mean, it's an opportunity to learn, I suppose. It's unfortunate, but Nathan's water sucks. Cleaning pipes is expensive. That's for damn sure. I mean, I don't know. I haven't even looked at the capability in this house. A lot of times they people just rip out the old stuff and switch over to some like X. Hey, so my phone's are waterproof. You guys just fell into a 5-gallon bucket. Steve, you got 2 more Shoda puffers. Those are awesome. So I talked to, when I was in Tucson, and I just dropped my phone charger in the water. Sorry, guys. When I was in Tucson, I actually got the opportunity to meet Preston John. That is super cool. Super great guy that just cares a lot about people being successful, which is awesome. Nathan asked if you sent him to him. He would send him to me if he didn't. I'm not a huge puffer guy. Oh, man. Stand by. Drop your phone in the water so I'm trying to get it sorted out. I'm not a huge puffer guy. Shoda Denai puffers are definitely awesome. I think if I was to get a puffer right now, it would be Torino Tetraodon Eurobesca, which is a red-eyed puffer of some sort. Going to UPS store so I can pick them up really quick. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's always a safer bet to increase shot success. The Noxie, what's up, man? Thanks for stopping by. That's definitely a smart move. Uno. Oh boy. Yeah, I'd be curious to see what happens, Stephen, as to whether it kind of, just establishes dominance in the tank in one shape or form. Hopefully, it doesn't just decide to be an absolute asshole to the younger ones. But it's hard to tell. You never know how they're going to react. A lot of like reef folks will introduce certain fish to the tank in specific orders to try to let them develop their own territory before adding potentially more aggressive fish. But you've already got the older one in the tank. Hopefully it doesn't turn into a bloodbath because that would suck. Night Owl, what's up? Yeah, she might go full psychopath on him, and then you'd have a problem on your hands, right? I think that'd work well, right? I tried to drown my male beta last night. Uh-oh. Yeah, I haven't heard of that. When I was in college, I don't usually deal with, the domestic type bettas, like splendens and stuff very often. When I was in college, I got a wild hair and decided to breed them once. I mean, they do have, like Betta Splendens does actually have like a fairly interesting breeding behavior. But if you weren't expecting it, it would definitely appear to be something scary. It's just different, right? Something you're not expecting. Let's see what we got here. What's that? Oh, that's not what I want. Grab one of these. I was actually watching a video that AKA posted. So the American Killifish Association posted a video earlier of a presentation done by Tyrone Grenade, whose big in Achilles is all about breeding Nothobranchius species in particular. And if you want to see some cool breeding strategies and breeding behaviors, Achilles kind of just run the gamut as far as different stuff. Even if you don't breed them yourself, it's definitely cool to just look into and observe. Uh, a lot of fish do that, oddly enough. Um, so Apistos, uh, female Apistogramma have a tendency of turning into just absolutely psychotic bitches uh, after they spawn. And I had a buddy that his female killed uh, you know, several males right after they spawned before they finally got a successful spawn out of them. So in Tyrone's presentation about breeding next growth of Branchius, killifish earlier, is actually so some of them they'll spawn in like a jar about this size. So obviously this is fishing with magic combination. They'll put some moss, like peat moss, in the bottom of it, cut a hole in the lid, and then the male and female, the male usually will enter the container first. They'll attract the female into the container. They'll do their thing, and if the female doesn't leave, so that the male can discard the eggs by himself, they'll just straight up kill it. So females aren't the only ones that lose their mind. Males tend to do it too. Henry, what will we do another live stream? That's a magic question. Ask like Zen and Jeff and Steven. I tried to do the schedule live stream years ago when I started the channel, and it's just not me. I'm pretty busy in general, so this kind of live stream, like I said, lately it's been later at night. So maybe tomorrow, maybe not for a few weeks. You can look at my live stream history, and it's like I might stream twice a week for a month, and then just disappear for like 4 months. So awesome, thanks, Nathan. Hope you're doing well, and love to have you up chatting these days. Hope you enjoy your evening. Again, thanks for stopping by, and good luck. Something really great. That you said it, Jen, not me. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. Just saying you said it. Jeff shipped his first shipment to Inbound. 107 to 110. Gross. That is weird to ship. Those numbers are ridiculous. I mean, I live in Iowa though, so we have a different idea of temperatures. But yeah, I just if I have time and I don't need to like super focus on things, I'll just live stream. So, if you guys cannot judge me for the messes I've created, maybe we can look at tanks today while I'm waiting for tanks to fill up. Let's see. Settings. Boom. Sorry, guys, I'm staring at my mug right now. But, so, this is one of the pairs of Cryptoferus analyticus. The male will get much larger than the female. Males in the front, females in the back. And they're not super happy right now. You can see the vertical bars, and then the female will actually have a little bit more of a round body. Male's obviously longer, much bigger, and pointed dorsal fin. Female usually has a little bit more rounded dorsal fin, and she's not displaying it right now, but you will see, particularly when she's in breeding dress, a dark black spot on the dorsal fin. There's the male. Come out to say hi. The other ones are not currently out. And I talked about some of the juveniles, so this is there's a few juvies in there. And that one there, both the larger one's a female. It's got spot displayed on the dorsal fin, and a couple other sizes in there. That tank just happened to be what was empty and easy to reach, so I put them up there. This is I talked about Congo catchers earlier. This is the breeding tank. It's just a 10-gallon tank, like I said. One floating mop, one super mop, some driftwood, some leaf litter, just to build up the acidity of the tank. A little sponge in the back, clean for female, and males up there. I turned the lights on right before I came down here, so most of the fish aren't super happy. Over here, scrimps, if you like scrimps. This is a mostly blue bolt tank. Oops. Can't get my phone to focus. Just some guppy grass, as you can see, it's kind of dying on the bottom right now. Pulled a bunch of it out. So, if you're in the fish cord, I posted some close-up pictures of these guys earlier. Maybe, let's see, if we get a little bit of a look. I don't know. Try. Got my case on my phone, so I don't know if this is going to work. Give it hell. Take the case off the phone to put my other ones on. But yeah, pretty simple setup. Google stratum substrate, some Java ferns, some peppergrass. Somehow there is some Elodia in there, which I don't know where that came from. I'm not gonna have to get lucky at that. Sorry, folks. Tried sponge filter. Neolanthologus multifasciatus, little shell dwellers. One of my favorites. I'd like to get some Neolanthologus similicus these days, but this is the Shelly tank. Full filter sand substrate, just some random snails, some corkscrew valve, and obviously a sponge filter in the back. Nothing too crazy. Back over to my open mug. Take these out of the way. Let's see, couple tanks. Call the cops. Yeah, should have. Straight to jail. Try to kill your spawning mate, straight to jail. Don't eat enough food, straight to jail. Eat too much food, straight to jail. If you've ever watched Parks and Rec, you might get the reference. We're picking on the girls, but guys can be assholes too. Two people in the fish jam with a ship dealer for August, Cattle Park status. I know George had a group for a while. I don't know if he still got them. So I'd like to see the list. The multifasciatus is super cool, super easy. Everybody and their brother wants them. So it's always an easy sell. Even like half inch, and you can sell them easily for $10 at most spot meets. Super popular. You don't see similis as often. Cattle punctatus have been becoming more popular the past couple of years. The compressiceps seem to shell. If I could get my hands on some that didn't cost me $25 a piece, I would gladly grab some of those. The price is just, I don't know. The price and their compressiceps, which means they take absolutely forever to grow out, and then they hope they spawn, and then you got to grow them out. It's a, I get the high price because it takes so long. It's just like these rainbow fish. I've got a breeding group of 15 Australian allanite up in that tank there. And if I wanted to sell a group, I'd probably get a couple $100 out of the group. But they just because they take absolutely forever to grow out. Slow growers. That's how the majority of rainbows are. Now the fake rainbows, which I actually love, the Pseudochronolobris, or not Pseudochronolobris, the Pseudomugula species, grow quite a bit faster. So, overrun with multis. That's the thing. Like, it's weird. So you see, the price stays up on them around here at least, and it's all about who's in the market for fish at the right time. Really, I actually just saw. I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier. There were some. What species was it? It was a Scythia, which is kind of like Gideon, little live bear, and a group of 6 Scythia. I can't remember the exact location. I thought that they just looked kind of boring, light yellow, but a group of 6 of them sold for $275 plus shipping. So all it takes is 2 people that want them, and bang, bye, boom. But I mean, you may sell that one group for $275, and then you won't find anybody else that wants them for a long time. So we don't fish to make money usually, right? Zenny got Pseudomobile for True Day. Awesome. True Day are beautiful fish. Where'd they come from, Zen? Do you get a local or do you ship them in? So one of my favorite Pseudomobiles, right? Well, I don't have them right now. I used to have a breeding group of them. Got rid of them a couple years ago. But Pseudomobile luminatus. This is a red, blue eyes. So super easy to spawn. They don't usually lay a ton of eggs, but I had good success rates getting them to 3, no problem. If I can get Pseudomobile mellis, I'd love to. Unfortunately, they are extremely difficult to find. What other Pseudomobiles I kept? I kept Pseudomobile Ivan Sophi, which Dan over Dan's Fish had for a while, and that's actually where they came from. I got really with him. I did get a spawn, but I didn't get a lot of fry, and then I ended up losing them. All right, yeah. See you, bud. Hour 4, awesome. Definitely a solid collection point. But no, the Ivan Sophi that I had, they tend to get a red dorsal, not super colorful, the Pseudomobile. But they are pretty fish, especially like Pseudomobile. I mean, I wouldn't mind keeping them again, just to at least give them another go and see how it went. Pseudomugos cyanodorsalis, while we're talking about Pseudomugos. One of my favorite fish. They are beautiful. They actually generally spawn in more brackish water and raise it dry up. You can't keep them in full fresh. I had a small group of 6 that I got a lot of it. And I was trying to condition them for spawning. I happened to switch brands. And I switched, I don't know what I was using before, but I switched to a Instant Ocean. I don't know if it was a bad batch of Instant Ocean salts or what. But I ended up losing my group of Cyanodorsalis. And that's another one. You see it slightly more often than Mellis, but you don't see it very often at all. So if I could find one of the group of Cyanodorsalis for sale, at a good price, I'd probably pick them up and I'd try again. Everybody's used to seeing the big rainbows and they spar and they kind of flash and stuff. But the little shimmers and stuff that the Pseudomobile do is super, super cool. Generally, the Pseudomobile, from my experience, lay far fewer eggs at a time. If you use Philasterina alani up here, which is more closely related to like the standard rainbow, like your Melanopania, they'll lay 40, 50 eggs in a mop over the course of a few days. Pseudomobile eggs are much larger, but they definitely don't. You might get 6 or 7 over the course of a few days. So they are, it definitely takes more to get a bunch of fish out of them. But they do grow much faster than the alani. The alani takes forever. Actually, met a guy that has the alani red up in about an hour and a half north of me. So one of these days, I'd like to get a small group from him and just see how they compare side by side. I would not mix the tanks. Wouldn't cross the lines at all. Excuse me. Just be cool to see and see how much of a real difference there is. The alani up in that tank up there, just because it's a sand tank with no plants and just spawning mops, they don't really display a ton of color. But when I get them in the 125, they're in a little more natural environment with the plants and stuff. They start to pop much more and look much better. So water changes down some of the tanks, just filling some of them back up. Start feeding. You guys saw me feed some of the bloodworms earlier. This is actually uh, pollen. So, like, what the hell are you feeding pollen to, Mike? You're an idiot. But actually feed pollen to my shrimp. There's a guy, I've had this bag for about a year now. There's a guy selling, I think I paid $1 a bag for this pollen, and I feed it to my shrimp. So I'll give some of that to the blue bolts, some of the yellow neos, and some of the red neos. So the red neos I have, there's so many names of red neos, whether it's cherry or painted fire red or sakura or whatever nonsensical bullshit you want to make up. I know there's some truth behind some of those lines, but I can't prove that these are any of those. So to me, they're just red neos. I usually, like the 10-gallon tank with a couple blue bolts in it. I probably got 50 blue bolts in there. I may drop like 2 pieces of pollen in, and it just slowly breaks up and they eat it up. Other than that, they get some of Keeper Aquatics snowflake type food. It's like a soybean or a soy-based food. Additionally, they get I've just got a variety like sparkling colors and stuff. So, candy apple reds. The only red that matters is candy apple. um, Naaman shrimp and Naaman guppies is about turned into Naaman corals, Coro. So nuclear dragon diarrhea zoanthids has a certain ring to it that you don't really get out of half black white guppies. So I can see the draw. Speaking of, so I still, if you guys followed my streams before, you know that I was going to set up a 29-gallon BioCube as saltwater again. I set it up, it leaked, I ripped the silicone out, and I haven't resealed it yet. So my saltwater tank is really just rock right now. It is a 35-gallon root tub with rock and water. I do a water change down about once every couple months. Berries are more wild, clear brown with some red. So, believe it or not, Zen, back in the day, let me see my spawning right now. Sorry, back in the day, when I first got into shrimp, I think like 2004, 2005, cherry shrimp at the time were the brightest red shrimp you could get. And by bright red, I mean it had like a touch of pink. If you're lucky, it actually looked red. Now, like that would be considered, almost just junk shrimp, and nobody would ever keep it because we developed these lines that are so bright. So Henry's losing the fight with sleepiness. That's all right, Henry. I don't know how much longer I'll be. Probably until these tanks fill up. I've got to make a new batch of baby brine shrimp, and then I might call it a night myself. So it's a pleasure to meet you, Henry. If you decide to succumb to your sleepiness, I'm going to move the camera over here for a second because these guys look like they might spawn soon. Now, the tank is a disaster. I get it. I just stirred it up, but that's the male. The female is inside the pot there, and they're kind of poking at each other a little bit. But he wants to spawn. I'm not sure if she wants to spawn right now. Forward into the pond. They were dipping in and out of that pot a minute ago. going after each other. I said I just did a water change, but I stirred it up pretty good. So it's a mess right now. If they decide to go after each other again in a little bit, we'll take another look at them. But I'm streaming from my phone, so it's a little bit harder for me to swap back and forth between cameras for you guys right now. I usually have my laptop down here, and I can set up, one video of my ugly mug on my laptop, and I'll move the phone around to show you guys certain things. But just the phone tonight. I've got this 75 gallon on the bottom. My Sudafed Labris is filling up right now. It has a massive amount of Malaysian trumpet snails. So I might trap some of those, well, pick some of those guys out of there and move them upstairs to the 125. Because I'm going through and just, the 125 is going to get completely torn apart and completely replanted soon, which means I'm stirring up a lot of detritus and stuff. So, a cleanup crew, and by cleanup crew I mean shit eaters, might do it some favors. And I'm not super worried about Malaysian trumpet snails taking over that tank because I run pretty much straight RO in there. I don't know exactly what the GH and KH are, other than extremely low. So snails usually don't last too long because I inject CO2 into the tank, and as soft as it is, that means that there's a lot of carbonic acid that builds up in the water, and that carbonic acid just eats away at the shells, and the snails eventually just disappear. Of course, I don't chip a tooth with my phone like that once, and wait. All right, Coro, if it's not your tooth, we need details. I could understand it being your own tooth, but I'd be fairly impressed if you chipped somebody else's tooth, dropping your phone while falling asleep. I mean, I won't judge you for who it is. I'm just curious to hear the actual story behind it. I don't know how or why. I know some people determine they need Malaysian trumpet snails, but I see a lot of listings on Aquabid for Malaysian trumpet snails. It feels like 50 to 100 at a time. I'm like, you can start with 2, and you'll have 50 to 100 in about a week. But to each their own. Like I said, I won't judge you. I might think differently of you, but I won't judge you. That tank's full. Let's see how much water I have left now. Now, there's a difference in falling asleep and things. Zenny, since you got back in the swing of things, some of these tanks would be overfilled or the internal autopilot kicked back in. I've got these cabinets over here, and sort of the ugly wood panels that are on there. I want to put whiteboards on there so I can keep notes and friends can draw stupid pictures on them. Probably a phallic nature. But I actually haven't kept track. I should, and maybe I'll start. I just got to go get a couple panels of whiteboard, and maybe we'll start keeping track of how many tanks I overfill. Now, I'm sure you've noticed I haven't been streaming much. Usually, I only overfill tanks when I'm streaming, and usually, well, back in the day, when Shanna was around, it was her fault because she distracted me. So I have overfilled a few. I'm not gonna lie. It just hasn't been a ton since I got home. 12 days since I should start keeping a log of how often I overfill tanks. Well, at least you were the big spoon, Coral. I mean, everybody wants to be the little spoon, but I mean, big spoon. And you're in control of the situation, right? So I'm a big spoon kind of guy. Well, I'm sorry that her tooth broke, but at least you got a good story out of it. That's the part that really matters. Now, if I was smart when I started doing water changes, I would have turned the RO on to start filling the RO container up, but I didn't. And it's just a 75 gallon per day RO unit, so it doesn't really make a difference as far as getting more water to keep. Let's see. Actually, a substantial amount left in there. We might be able to do one more thing. Maybe. I'll say that now, but chances are I'll drain one more tank and then go to fill it, and it'll just be empty. I do, however, need to make a new batch of brine shrimp. And, I started, if you guys remember, if you guys watch my videos, probably last fall-ish, I started a bunch of food cultures. I started some food cultures, vinegar eels, microworms, and Walter worms. But I knew that my wife had zero interest in taking care of a bunch of cups of worms while I was gone. So I pawned those off on somebody else. So it's time for me to get new cultures now. So I'm going to help Paul. Actually, this guy here, if you need food cultures, or if you want to learn about live food, talk to Paul, Fish Guy's Place. That is my go-to for any live food cultures. That's okay, Andrew. You can be one of those people. Last night, unfortunately, my dog woke me up at 2:30 in the morning. She was in her kennel. Well, picking my wife's dog. In her kennel, and apparently she decided to get into my grease trap for my smoker. And you can imagine how well that went for her. So she was in her kennel with a massive bout of diarrhea at 2:30 in the morning. So I got to clean her kennel, clean her up a little bit, and then my wife gave her a bath today. Actually, got enough brine shrimp left in my hatchery to feed a little bit quick. So I'll feed some. And then I'll make a new batch. Fingers are fine. For the worms, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't have the only live foods I have right now are baby brine shrimp, which I have Congo Tetra eggs that are about to hatch, and I've got some baby South and Alani. So I need to get some food cultures going again. I actually just emailed Paul earlier today to get a new batch on the way so I can start some new ones up. The beauty of live food is that it's super cheap. And live food starter cultures from Paul are also extremely cheap, and they're cheap to ship. They grow out quickly, so I'll just order some new cultures and be ready to go in no time. I'll also probably start up. I should have done it earlier, but just an infusoria tank. And if you ever breed rainbow fish fry are extremely tiny. Green water goes. It's like magic for rainbow fish. They love green water. They're so tiny. Green water, I've definitely noticed increased growth rates. So I'll start a green water tank. I'll start some infusoria, and then I'll probably get more vinegar eels, microworms, and I haven't kept grindle worms in a while, so I might do grindle worms instead of white worms. But we'll see. I might do both. He's got a. If you look him up on Aquavid or his website, he does just like bundle cultures where you can get some of everything. Pretty cheap. You can get like 3-4 different starter cultures for maybe like $15 shipped. Or if you want bigger cultures that are ready to feed, he also offers those. Of all the nematode type cultures, I'd say vinegar eels are by far the easiest. Like I don't need a vinegar eel culture because it's still alive after me being gone for 3 months. That was the one that I kept. I distributed the others to other folks, but I did keep the vinegar eels just because I knew they'd be fine. Chlorella. Yeah, I've never tried to keep chlorella myself, so definitely a little bit tougher. Zenny said she wants to try vinegar eels. No interest in more cultures. Very sensitive on smells. Yeah, so a regular liquid vinegar eel culture, like this guy, it doesn't produce as much. Oh, you guys don't see it. It doesn't produce as much compared to like the oat or flake based hyperdense cultures. But this just smells a little bit like vinegar. So super clean, no problem. If you have any questions, Henry, feel free to message me. Zenny, maybe I'll just send you some stir cultures unknowingly, and then you'll have no choice but to either throw them away and feel bad because I sent you, something. I don't send you much anymore, but I sent you something, you threw it away, or just get them going. Different white worms who live in soil. Yep. So for Gorilla worms and white worms, I'll show you what I use. And you don't even need soil. I've kept them both ways. So I have this one. So this is an old culture. Yeah, just a Rubbermaid tote. And then instead of soil, I just use a piece of foam. I use a little piece of craft mesh. And then over the craft mesh, I put a small piece of glass or a micro slide. So you have foam, craft mesh, slide, and the worms will live in the foam. And then when you feed them, you'll feed like dog food or something. You just get it moist. You'll put it on top of the craft mesh, put your slide on top of that, and then when they come up to eat the moist food, they'll actually just stick to the slide. Then you can take a slide, just wipe your finger, or whatever, and feed off it. So this is the cleanest, easiest setup probably. Just keep some water in the bottom, and that soaks the sponges and keeps it moist. Like I said, you feed like moist cat or dog food. Another option, like Coro's talking about, is to use soil. So this is just another tote of soil. Again, the craft mesh and a piece of glass, and then you can use red, or I use cat food or dog food. Either way works just fine. So there's your options. They don't smell at all. Microworms definitely produce a very yeasty, alcohol, stinky smell. But the soil-based or the foam-based cultures don't smell at all. Blackworms. I've never tried blackworms. If you breed cories, I would say blackworms are going to be, the like ace in the hole. But I've never personally kept them. All you need is like a jug or a bottle. I use beverage bottles. Some apples and some apple cider vinegar eels. Stupid easy. Can't mess it up. The dirt does not get in your tank. You can actually rinse the worms off in the water if you want. But because the worms stick to that piece of glass, the dirt usually doesn't because it's got that craft mesh in between. You just take a piece of glass, and I just dump a piece of glass in the tank. Boom. What's up, Mel? Thanks for joining us. Bentley Pasco. Hey, Bentley. Nice to see you here. Thanks for stopping by. We're not talking much about plant stuff. We are talking about rainbows, though. The only rainbow I currently keep is those guys. That's really about 15 Chilatrina alani Poga. So I'd still like, I know I messaged you, Bentley, a long time ago, I think, about the Kalitawa. One of these days, I'd still like to get some. We'll see how it works. Whiskey bottles, I haven't done a culture in a whiskey bottle, but whiskey bottles are great. Bentley, are you going to the Clash this year? I know you talked last year. Um, I don't know. I didn't really look at the speaker lineup for the Clash this year. I might be able to make it out. If I do, it'd be nice to actually finally meet you in person. Tap it out. All right, Henry. Thanks, man. Have a good night. Bentley likes the tanks to my left. Those guys, so these, mostly just guppies right now. But those tanks there, they're acrylic. They're about 14 by 20 by 10, I think. I picked them up. It was a university research product. So I picked the tanks up stupid cheap, and they were plumbed for auto water changes. I use them just as drains. I didn't set up the tail side of it, but they work really well. Just acrylic tanks. They don't take up a lot of space. They have a great footprint. So yeah, I like them too. One with half water and one with full vinegar. Are you seeing much of a difference between the two, Stephen? Because I do half and half myself. I know you can go full vinegar. I just don't know. Not the Clash, unfortunately. Sad to hear. Rob's is here. If you guys ever want some entertainment, check out the Aquarium Guys podcast. Rob's and Bentley actually did a little deal the other day. So, pretty cool. That's weird. I've never seen that happen, Rachel. So, one of the reasons that I use a beverage bottle, aka a beer bottle, I don't have any down here. So the shape of the neck. So you fill it. If you want to do full vinegar, or you can do half and half. Put a couple apple chunks in the bottom. What I do is I'll fill it with RO up to about here. And I'll take a cotton ball, and you can shove a cotton ball down the neck of it. And what happens is the worms will swim up through the cotton. They'll get to that clean water where the oxygen is up top. And then you can literally just take a pair of tweezers, pull the cotton ball out, and then you can switch the cotton ball in your tank because it'll collect all the vinegar eels on the way up. Thanks for sharing that link, Zen. So yeah, that's feeding vinegar eels out of a beer bottle for dummies. Vibe check. Use ammonia strips. Hell to the no, 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 no. I know where my test kits are. I bet the dates on my test kits all the reagents were probably outdated about 5 years ago. The only test strips, I don't use any test strips. The only test kits that I have that I know are in date are GH and KH. And I got them a year ago maybe, and I haven't used them since. You want to know what I use for a test strip? Just fingered a little bit. I kid. No, I for the most part when I'm home, all these tanks get 15% at least water changes a week, which may be excessive for some. But these tanks down here are legitimately just for breeding and growing fish out. So I just keep clean water in all the time. If you do water changes, if your goal is to breed fish and to grow them out, breeding not so much because there's different strategies like allowing the water level to drop, heating it up, and then hitting it with cold water change, blah 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 blah. But for just raising fry, the cleaner water, the cleaner you keep the water, the fresher water you can keep in there, you will notice an increased growth rate in your fish. Actually, so I was talking about killifish earlier, specifically Nothobranchius, and the conversation or one of the talking points. So Tyrone actually did a test where he grew half of a batch of a certain fillet fish out on straight baby brine shrimp, and the other half was on a mix of baby brine shrimp and microworms. And the baby brine shrimp microworm mix actually showed increased growth over just the baby brine shrimp. So, variety is the spice of life. And if you're trying to put size on fish, whether it's to make them sellable or to get them to a breeding size a little bit faster, mix it up a little bit. Add those microworms, vinegar eels, waffle worms, banana worms, add all the things. You test your tank water in the stream yet? Dash whiskey and coke. I don't have any whiskey and coke. Currently, I'm drinking a Colonel Buzz milk stout. So this was brewed by the Black Spruce Brewing Company, which I believe is located in Fairbanks, Alaska. Robs, if you came here just for the taste test, then you didn't miss it. We haven't taste tested yet. I will say, though, that the saltwater tank is currently a saltwater tote, and I have to reseal the BioCube still. But we can taste test it. We get a little. Let's say salinity is about 1.024 right now. So a little on the lower end. I usually keep my tanks about 1.026 when I'm keeping salt. So I use a refractometer for that. Or the taste test. Just get your finger wet. Get it in there. Nice and deep like, boy. When I was trying to breed the pseudomobile cyanodorsalis, they came to me in full fresh, and I raised it up to about 1.015 because the articles that I read about, spawning and raising the fry suggest 1.015. Unfortunately, like I said, shortly before I attempted to trigger the spawn, thanks, Rob. I appreciate you, bud. Unfortunately, shortly before I attempted to spawn, I made this stupid mistake of switching salts. And like I said, I don't know if it was a bad batch or if I messed something up. But it went out the window. That's gravy with a dash of lemon party. Nuke Local Austin's here. What's up, Mike? Hope you're doing well. Add pasta and crank the heater up. I can't quack like a duck, so that was my attempt to quack like a duck. If you've ever watched the Aquarium Guys podcast, which this guy runs, who's a lot of fun, Robs Olson, Robs and the boys over there in Minnesota like to have a good time while being informational. So it's thoroughly entertaining, definitely worth it. They had so I've recently been catching up on the podcasts, Rob. So I know I haven't been super active in the Discord over there, but I've recently been catching up on your podcasts. And it must have been the 420 podcast because you talked to a young gal that worked in the greenery industry. You talked about getting your fish high. So that was a interesting episode. I laughed more than once. Rob's and Adam and those guys, they make me laugh every time I listen to them. The pot episode was entertaining. I don't know enough about the industry to fact check it, so I didn't fact check it for you. But it was definitely worth the laughs. So they do have a Facebook page, shameless plug, the Aquarium Guys podcast. And I think Adam is probably the most active guy on there, and he posts some pretty funny stuff. True. I mean, it's funny because it's true. Things that are funny are only funny if they're a little bit true, right? So, speaking of aquariums and pot, if you guys are familiar, I know Bentley will know this. Steven, maybe. Zenny, probably not. But everybody that kept Planet Tanks Build My LED BML was it wasn't a fad. It was like the Chihiros and the LEDs at the time. Like it was a huge deal. They were great lights. They stopped selling. Well, they stopped designing and selling aquarium lights for planted fish tanks because the pot lighting industry was just too profitable. So they just shifted all their focus over to pot. Now, I don't know what they're doing now. Kara Wade used to be involved in that. I don't know what she's doing these days, but yeah. Yeah, every now and then, Bentley, not very often, but every now and then I still see a Build My LED fixture pop up for sale on the auction pages. Shit. Speaking of auctions, I bid on some stem plants, and the auction ended tonight. I don't know if I won it or not, but I'll look after the stream. Yeah, I think Rapid LED. If Rapid LED was more geared towards saltwater, but it's more of like a DIY kit where they provided the components, you provided the labor, you put it together to fit your tank. Rapid LED used to design, they had excellent little kits for saltwater tanks. And then, the whole grow in your house type of deal took off. And I think Rapid LED focuses mostly on pot now. $2 from Rob. Certainly loves throwing dead fish in substrate. I believe that. I can see that. Speaking of, let me go for a walk quick. I'll be right back. I'm still jabbering at you guys. Don't worry. But not very many people will probably get this if I can find it. I must have it over here somewhere. So, gee dang it. I was gone for a while, and my wife rearranged my stuff. So now I can't find certain things that we're laying out. Ugh. Now, if I told you that you could build an excellent sponge filter out of a Cadillac seat, you probably wouldn't believe me. But I have. It's not numbered, unfortunately, but Jim sent me one of his famous sponge filters built out of this foam. Is from the seat of a Cadillac. I know Bentley will get it because he has one of these. But if you listen to the Aquarium Guys podcast, the Jim Colby special is money, right? Like this thing is well built with love. Love, maybe I mean, I don't know exactly what else he did while he was building this. It may be infused with some magic juice. I don't know. But the Jim Colby special right here. The A guy, or A gay, not sure which. But that means Rob's is potentially the B guy, and maybe Adam's the C guy. I don't know. Loving adult toys. Rob's, I met Rob's. Rob's came down to pick up. I was showing you guys the Cryptoheros Nanonuvius earlier, which Rob's made the mistake of driving all the way down from northwest Minnesota to pick up a group of Cryptoheros Nanonuvius from me. And I met him, and he is a super nice dude for one, funny as shit. But he didn't get a chance to place any glass decorations in my fish tanks, we'll say. He didn't stop at the house, but next time you head this way, Rob's, you let me know, and maybe you'll have the opportunity to be the first person to place a piece of such glass decor in one of my aquariums. And if it landed in the 125 display up there, well, the kid will probably ask questions and the wife won't like it, but it's my fish tank, so they'll get over it. Still got them. Hope they're doing well for you. You know, so here's Santa Ludius. Like I said, those little yellow crips with blue eyes. I believe that you have a piece of glassware everywhere you go, Robs. Um, all right, Jen. You have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow potentially. Appear to be the high bidder. Um, let me look. See if I can do this. Oops. Uh-oh. Make sure I'm still here. That's working okay. Let's do this. And then let's do this. And we'll do this. So if you guys, I know Bentley's aware, but if you guys are plant folk, plan to take quick auctions. You can find some really good deals, or you can get caught in a bidding war and spend way more money than you planned on. Just how it goes sometimes. But you guys probably want to see my hand. Let me see if I can do this. Somewhere in here. Oh boy. I don't know. I think there's only one other guy that bid on this auction. But the high bid is currently $14. It's over now, I think. I'm pretty sure 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. So I did win. So for $14 plus shipping, which is another $11, so 25 bucks. I won a bush, so to speak, of Patamageddon SP curly hair, which I've never kept before, so that'll be a new species for me. Persicaria Pak Chong, which I've never kept. Rotella macrandra kochi, I've also never kept. Mirio golden, Hygrosilicofolia, which if you're not familiar with, it's a smaller growing hydro. It's more of a, it's almost like a foreground type. It shows some dark coloration. And Rotella Blood Red SG. So about 5 stems of each, and I got it for 25 bucks. So that's a win. So I will take that all day long. What's a basement? Yeah, you probably don't have many basements out there, Bentley, if I had to guess. So chances are your house is also built newer than 1923. So there's that. But anyway, so yeah, I paid less than, so fairly uncommon to rare plants, not stuff you see every day. It was 45 bucks, so not too bad. Fish tubers browsing plant names. Other than the plant, I don't know what plants you even keep, Robs. So I believe that. If you ever want to fall asleep, listen to Plant Nerds attempt to read plant names in Latin. I have zero Latin experience outside of plant names, so it is what it is. Bentley, while you're here, do you still have, well, are you breeding, 1 Kalitawa and 2 Kaliburu? Because I'd still like to get some of each of those fish for you, from you, one of these days, if we can ever make it happen. I think it was probably 2 or 3 years ago from when I actually asked you about them, so it's been a while. Give these rainbow fish some more baby brine. Now, rainbow fish are dumb. Never had Kalitawa. Kaliburu. Oh, that's a shame. You lost the Kaliburu. Sorry to hear that, Bentley. That's a bummer. I'll have to hunt it down somewhere else. Now, rainbow fish are dumb. I feed, once I can get rainbow fish onto bigger foods, and by bigger foods, I mean baby brine shrimp, because they got a tiny little mouse in the fryer, super, super tiny. Anyway, you feed them baby brine shrimp, they will eat until their stomach's about to explode, and you can actually see their stomach turn orange from eating so much baby brine shrimp. So they're dumb gluttons. Adele, howdy howdy. Crypt when det I on a loop creates a fat beat. Is that your next song? There's Stefan. Crypt when det I. Crypt when det I. I feel like you could plug that into AI and come up with something cool. But what was the last short you made was about rainbow fish, and that one had me laughing pretty good. Well, the last short that I watched anyway. And I think I watched that because Bentley actually mentioned it in one of his videos. So if that was the case, then thanks Bentley for turning me on to something. Thanks Bentley for turning me on. But for turning me on to something I didn't know I needed in my life. If you guys aren't familiar with Stephen P., if you ever want to laugh, he's your guy. He's got some dude's creative as shit, and he's a performer. I think Steven performed his guppy rap at the Showberfest. Glass Cats. I haven't seen the Glass Cats one. I'll have to show you how much attention I pay to people I'm subscribed to. I'll have to actually watch that one. Although after the Rainbow Fish one, I have fairly high expectations, I think. Because I thought, I didn't think 30 seconds about Rainbow Fish could be as entertaining as it was. But my simple mind certainly enjoyed it. And I'd be lying if I said I only watched it once. So, my ghetto brine shrimp hatchery is empty. So I'm going to go clean this guy out and make a new batch. Which, like you're looking at it like, oh, hey, there's a lot of unhatched eggs in there. But these eggs, this can of eggs, it's a 1 pound can. I keep it in the freezer, but if I had to guess, it's 5 to 6 years old. So it's bruised enough for me. I usually hatch out, I usually do about 1 teaspoon batches at a time. And 1 teaspoon of these old eggs has provided me plenty. So I haven't bought a can of brine shrimp eggs in years, obviously. But I'm actually almost empty, so I'll have to buy a new one soon. But I think I got my money's worth out of it. Behold the power of Mountain Dew shrimp. There's no Mountain Dew in this fish room right now. Just porter. Is it porter? No, it's a stout. So, those of you listening that give half a shit about brine shrimp, I usually use 2 liters of water, 2 tablespoons of salt, and right now I've got a bunch of old Instant Ocean salts to use up. So that's what I've been using. I know you can use rock salt fine. I did that. I don't know. Oh, damn it, I just spilled water. Rock salt is literally just that. It's just salt. So I'd be curious, and I'm sure there's a study or video out there somewhere of using actual marine salt or buffered salt It's like Instant Ocean has a lot of other uh, not necessarily nutrients, but compounds in it aside from just NaCl. So maybe by using that, you're providing more nutritional baby brine shrimp. I don't know. Way above my head. Thanks for stopping by, Robs. Appreciate everything, man. And unfortunately, I didn't get far enough north to hook up the last time I was in Minneapolis. But let's see if we can set something up and make it happen. I will be up there again in July. So if we can set up a time, once I get the date figured out, I'll let you know. And maybe we can meet up in Minneapolis or something. Or maybe I'll make a drive and make an appearance that we can have a guest speaker on the Aquarium Guys podcast in person. Deli, thanks for stopping by. I haven't seen you in a while, Del, but I watched I've bebopped in a couple of your live streams, but I haven't really been around much. Probably almost said hi or something when I was there, but hope you're doing well. Let's see. All right, Bentley, thanks for stopping by, man, and take care. Good luck. This is my can of shrimp eggs. I don't know. Lot number 12923. Don't know what that means. I'm sure I could look it up and see when it was actually made. But these are the regular grade A's. So they claim 80% hatch rate. I don't know. As long as I get enough to feed my fish, I don't really care when I do or don't hatch. So, in they go. Water temp on a baby brine shrimp, about 76 degrees. Pretty flexible. You'll see better hatch rates and faster hatches in warmer water, of course, which is to be expected. And then I know some people are right at the 24-hour mark. Some people go longer, some people go shorter. I'm kind of a 30-hour guy myself. So from 36 hours seems to work. So Steven's going to be responsible. I'm not far behind you, Steven. I'm going to finish up here, finish my beverage, and I will call it quits myself here in a little bit as well. Got some water changes done. Got some fish fed. Had a beverage. Yeah, YouTube, I mean, YouTube can be just like Facebook, right? It can be a toxic mess if you're not careful. But I think for the most part, we have a pretty good, crew variety around out here. There's a group for just about everybody. So. But what do you guys have? We're probably going to lose people like a rock now that Stephen and Rob's left. I imagine it'll get pretty quiet in here. And there are a few more minutes. Finish my beverage, shut the lights out, and I will call it a night as well. If you guys have any questions about fish room, fish in general, the meaning of life, feel free to let them rip. I'm going to collect some more Malaysian trumpet snails. Not the, the Colombian mud snail or whatever Rob's was talking about on his stream not too long ago. These are true Malaysian trumpets, although I'm about certain I have some of the others as well. Spills. I'm not sure I played the crap. The only people ever seems to like idiots stepping on others. I mean, that's just life, Adele. It's unfortunate. That's how life goes sometimes. Sorry to hear. Just the longer I'm around, all 35 years of it so far. Birthday's next month. I'll officially be 35. the more I realize that the world is full of assholes. You just have to do your own thing and take care of yourself. Chance asked a good question. Do I ever list my fish on Aquabid? I do. The past couple years, I've been going to more nearby swaps within a couple hours driving. So I've offloaded a ton of fish that way. But I do occasionally post stuff on Aquabid. And actually, I buy way more stuff on Aquabid than I sell, but I do. So if you're interested, if you specifically want something from me, or you see it on Aquabid, my username on Aquabid is black, like the color, hills, like the hills, and the letters T and J. So Tango Juliet. So I haven't posted anything on there in a little while here. Like I said, the swaps have generally treated me pretty well lately. Kind of depends on the fish though. You got to feel out the swap meets a little bit. A lot of the stuff that I tend to keep and breed isn't one of the things that like you take to a swap, and a ton of people will want. There'll usually be like one guy that gets to the swap super early, and that's the guy that he specifically wants something that's less common. So occasionally when I have something I'm not able to offload, I'll throw some on Aquabid. It depends on the weather too, right? Like so the weather in Iowa is often not conducive to shipping. It's either way too hot, and by the time it warms up in Iowa, or I'm sorry, way too cold, and by the time it warms up in Iowa, if I'm shipping somewhere south, it's way too hot there to really be super comfortable shipping. But I do on occasion. I used to shell, so we were talking about shrimp earlier, back when cherry shrimp were, a dime a dozen, and the first King Kongs came out for $400. I used to sell a lot of shrimp on Aquabid. But not so much lately. I think mostly lately, as far as selling stuff on Aquabid goes, it's mostly been plants. So, which Aquabid's not really huge as far as the more advanced type plants go. So a lot of the times when I sell plants, I'll post up on like plant specific groups, like Plant and Tank Quick Auctions, and the like. Honestly, like Fish Room doesn't currently have a lot of stuff to move. Like I said, I know you've been in the trade most of the time. Um, but like I don't really have anything super interesting to sell at the moment. Like I said, I'll figure out some of the leftover guppies that I have that I haven't sold at swap meets, and then I'll restock. I'll find new breeding products. Summer's a great time to breed stuff, and then you have the fall stuff. This fall swap meets like Quad Cities or Omaha, whatever that club calls itself anymore, etc. They usually do a fall swap and a spring swap. So at the fall, after summer's over, and if you've got a bunch of fry, so you breed during the summer, sell during the fall, and then in the winter, you breed during the winter and sell the spring swaps. It just works out pretty well. So this year, I don't know if I'll make it out to the Clash, but I will probably be sending some fish out to the Clash for the contests, and then after the contests are over, they can raffle them off, and I'll probably just contribute whatever it sells for to the event to help keep their club running and help keep the event going. I was actually talking to Scotty earlier about sending some chili fish out to the swap, or not to the swap, to the Clash. for the contest. So hopefully I can get some grown out and do a little sorting and find something that is contest worthy. Because usually, like, I know I went to the Waco show, Wisconsin Area Killifish Organization, a couple of years ago, and there was some pretty stiff competition out there as far as killifish go. I'll tell you what. So if I send anything, it's got to be worthwhile. I mean, I have no problem sending stuff out just to auction for the sake of supporting that club. CCY and Lancaster County are both great clubs from what I've seen, and obviously the Keystone Clash is a pretty big deal. It's gaining traction in the hobby, so I have no problem supporting that. Check on the chat here a minute. Sure, I don't mix it when I live my tags, so I might try that in the future. But right now, can't be asked. That's the way it goes sometimes. So the best my Neo colonies, like any Neo colony I've ever kept, has done was when I was doing absolutely nothing with it. I had a 10-gallon tank on the floor of my bedroom when I was in college. It was the floor of my bedroom at my parents' house, and I just literally just let it sit. Sand bottom and some Java moss and some guppy grass, and it exploded. And once a week, I'd post an ad for 20 for 20 shipped on cherry shrimp, and it would disappear pretty quick on off of it. New local Austin. While you're here, I just wanted to say it was super cool having Bananas on the stream the other day. I thought that was very cool. It's awesome to see young people that are so excited about the hobby and so into it. So super cool that you're kind of going on your adventure through the hobby with her. And it'll be interesting to see how she develops in the hobby and what she has to offer for everybody. So got about 3 minutes to go, and then I'm going to call it quits for the night. It is almost 3 o'clock, and I actually have to fly airplanes tomorrow, so we'll wind down a little bit. She didn't like my trash talk. It's all in good fun. I hope she knows that. Next time she's on the stream, I'll have to make it more clear that I'm just talking in good fun. Yeah. I know it was super cool seeing you guys both up in the chat. I know I haven't been in one of your streams for a while, so I'll have to try to make it happen more often. Telly said it's been a week already. It is now. It's Tuesday here, so see you, Dell. Have a good one. Hopefully, things treat you a little bit better. That's awesome. That is super cool, and I mean it's super cool for you to kind of take her under your wing a little bit and show her the ropes and help teach her as you guys both kind of learn your way through the hobby, I suppose. So we all have our own adventures. I'm trying to think. I was then 2003, 2004 time frame. So I was maybe 13 or 14 when I got in the hobby too. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. For everybody that's still here, thanks for hanging out. Adele, Mike, I know Bentley and Steven left. Zenny left. Mel's still sticking around. Lynn was here for a little bit. Chance, pleasure to meet you, man. Hopefully we can If you have any questions, feel free to find me on Facebook or the Fishboard. Just post me a message. Otherwise, my email is mike@allthingsfish@gmail.com, and I'd love to help you out as much as I can. Obviously, Rob's provided some quality entertainment while he was here. Nothing other than what I'd expect from him. So until next time, guys, I hope you have a great night, great morning, great day if you're on the other side of the world. Like New Local Austin said, much love and have a good one. We'll see you later.